What is up, everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team Career Mode.
There's a lot of cash just
now we are at round 21 of 23 in our third season in Formula 1, and we recently hit our 100-point target in this season just a couple races ago, and we're going to be getting a massive sponsorship payout at the end of the season. But we're trying to get even more money by beating Alpine in the race to P6 in the Constructors' Championship. We are currently, I believe, 5 points behind them with 3 races to go, and so we have a really strong opportunity in the upcoming race at the Portuguese Grand Prix to try and close them down and maybe even overtake them if we can get a good result here. Now, I won the Portuguese Grand Prix last season, you may or may not remember, and it was a very, very solid victory, so I'm hoping we can repeat that feat this time out, but it may not be so simple. Anything can happen at any time, so yeah, we have to be prepared for any eventuality. Just try our hardest to get the strongest result we possibly can. In Brazil, we did get the strongest result we possibly could. We ended up taking P1 in the race itself after finishing P2 in the sprint, getting pipped to the finish, but nonetheless we managed to win the race when it mattered. So yeah, we're currently sitting pretty in the championship. In the drivers' championship, it's not really relevant where we finish anymore, I would say, apart from just for some driver acclaim and that kind of thing. The main sort of focus for me is the constructors' championship and trying to finish above Alpine, that P6 position if we can, so we can get an extra cash injection for the following season, allow us to upgrade a few of our facilities, to sign our brand new teammate. Now, last call, I shall say, for those of you who are watching this video within about 24 hours of it coming out, this is probably going to be your last opportunity to decide who my teammate is going to be for the following season, because I usually record these episodes a day or two in advance, so by the time that you're watching the next one, I will probably have already recorded the final video and subsequently done the teammate contract renewal and that kind of thing. So yeah, to inform you of who I've been looking at the moment, I mentioned this in the past couple of videos, but we're looking at Sonoda as a potential option, we're looking at Gasly as a potential option, and we're looking at Ocon as a potential option. So let me know in the comments which of those 3 drivers you think you'd be most interested in me signing as a teammate for Season 4 to help me hopefully win the Constructors' Championship, but definitely challenge a bit higher than P6, which I believe is where we're going to be finishing this season if we can get ahead of Alpine. So yeah, that's that out the way. We had pretty good pace in practice, but I don't know if that's going to translate into qualifying. I definitely think we could have been a little bit faster in practice, so I'm hoping that that will translate here in qualifying. Now, I am running a wet setup because the race is scheduled to be a wet race, so yeah, I want to make sure I give myself the best opportunity to get a good result in that one. We did a 1:15.8 on our first flying lap on a set of fresh soft compound tyres, and we actually went out on another set of fresh soft compound tyres, but we couldn't improve. It was a 1:16.3 on that occasion, a pretty poor lap, and it was good enough for P7, our initial lap, so we are through to Q2, but we definitely have to do a little bit better than that. I think if I qualify P7 in Q3, I wouldn't be particularly happy with that. I've got to be aiming for at least top 5, ideally top 3. I don't know if you saw there, but actually the 2 Alpines were the fastest in that session, so I'm hoping that that's just a blip and that's not going to be repeated. Meanwhile, eliminated here, Sonoda, De Vries, Albon, Lawson, Joe, and Fittipaldi. Dennis Hauger was right on the bubble in P16, actually being outperformed by both Hasses, so hopefully he can get his act together in Q2 and at least out-qualify those guys, but hopefully get through to Q3. I think he's only had 1 Q3 appearance this season, so yeah, we ideally want Hauger to be doing a little bit better than that if he can. Either way, we're now in Q2. I finally remembered to not load up with 13 laps of fuel like I did for both of my runs in Q1, and it immediately helped out. We did 1:15.2, so yeah, pretty happy with that result. And hopefully we can go even faster now that we're not on a used set of tyres anymore, because that 1:15.2 was on a used set of soft compound tyres. The tyre deg around here isn't super high, so we were able to get away with that without too much of a problem, but nonetheless we definitely want to get a good lap in with a fresh set of tyres as well. And you can see it seems we're doing just that. We're improving by about 3/10 as we come around the final corner to the line. It's a 1:14.9, and that should be the fastest time of the session, I believe. And indeed it is. So we're through to Q3 quite comfortably, P1, and well, hopefully we can repeat that in Q3. That would be absolutely ideal if we could. Hauger, unfortunately, does not make the cut. He was a couple tenths off on this occasion behind Max Verstappen, who was right on the bubble of being knocked out. Both Alpines, despite being 1 and 2 in Q1, they actually both get knocked out here in Q2. So yeah, very, very disappointing for those guys. But yeah, Kevin Magnussen and the two Hasses of Sargent and Hulkenberg joined those two Alpines, as well as my teammate Dennis Hauger in the elimination zone. So yeah, we are through to the top 10 shootout. Hopefully we can challenge for pole position, but those Mercedes have been looking awful fast here as well, so I definitely think that they could throw a spanner in the works potentially. We do our first flying lap on a used set of soft compound tyres. Once again, we've only got one set of fresh softs, so we'll save them until the end of the session. We're going to banker in first if we can. It's a 1:15.4, so a little bit slower than our banker in Q2 actually, but hopefully we can do a lap that was just as fast, if not faster than the one we did on a fresh set of softs in Q2. And you can see that we're about on pace to do that at the moment. More than 3 tenths up at this stage, and hopefully in these last few corners we can gain even more time, up to more than 4 tenths up now. Around this final corner we've managed to get a bit more improvement. There's definitely the bit where the tyres on the used set had worn out quite a lot. So yeah, it looks like we're going to improve by 5 tenths, maybe just shy of 5 tenths. I think it's going to be just over 5 tenths. It's another 1:14.9, and that is good enough to put us in P3. So it's not quite pole position, but it definitely is a solid result, and hopefully we can fight with that tomorrow.
Qualifying finished. It's time to remind ourselves of our top 3: Bottas, Russell and Robinson. Goodbye for now then, but we are really just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
So it's Valtteri Bottas claiming pole position by 2 tenths over his teammate as well. A really, really strong result from the Finn there. And, well, he is looking to make good on his championship challenge. If he can win the Portuguese Grand Prix here, he might maybe start to get to a position where it's going to be difficult for people to catch him. It won't be impossible, certainly, but yeah, he is leading the Drivers' Championship at the moment, and with only 3 races to go, someone is going to have to try and do something to stop him winning this race, or it might just be a little bit too hard to overcome. One thing I've actually forgotten about in these last few races as Valtteri Bottas has got himself back into the championship fight. He's retiring at the end of the season. If he can go out of Formula 1 after what would be, this is 2025, right? So it would be 13 years in Formula 1 and win a championship in his final year in Formula 1. That would be an absolutely remarkable situation, and I'm kind of cheering him on as a result. I'm out of the championship fight, so I can't wait to see what Valtteri Bottas does. I do want to beat him today for my own championship hopes, but we'll see what we can do as we get into the Portuguese Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to Portimao, one of the busiest towns in the Algarve and a breathtaking destination that brings tourists from all around the world to the shores of southern Portugal. Today it's the backdrop for the latest round of the Formula 1 World Championship, and with a circuit this wide, we could be in for a lot of exciting wheel-to-wheel action today. A lap of Portimao is 2.9 miles long and is made up of 15 turns, 9 right-handers and 6 left-handers. It's been described as a roller coaster with a lot of elevation changes, and there's more than one blind summit. And the conditions today aren't going to make visibility any better, so the drivers are going to have to be on the ball if we're to avoid a safety car here today. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Robinson, Perez, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Verstappen, Norris, Stroll, Magnussen, Gasly, Ocon, Sargent, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, De Vries, Albon, Joe, Fittipaldi, Hauger and Liam Lawson. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? A warm welcome to Natalie Pinkham, who is beside me in the commentary box today. They need second or better to ensure they stay in contention for the championship. Anything outside that, and their fate is no longer in their hands.
The key now will be to keep the right mindset. We've seen time and again that things go wrong if they just try to do the minimum. Not necessarily because of the pressure, but because it's different to their usual approach. They'll need to avoid that and stay focused today.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Well, with Dennis Hauger down in P21 because of a grid penalty, I think this is going to be a bit of a one-man show from Jaguar here today. And I'm hoping that despite the tricky damp conditions, we can get ourselves up into P1 off the start by the time we get down to that first corner. It's a bit of a long run, but it's not a supremely long run. So these are conditions that probably favour me in terms of length to the first corner, but the rain might hamper that a little bit. Nonetheless, we'll try and get the best grid slot parking we can. 0.2 meters, it's not bad. And yeah, we've got two Mercedes starting in front of us. They're both going to be gunning for the World Championship. We're gunning for P6 in the Constructors Championship. The stakes are a little bit different, but I'm just as committed as they are to the fight, and hopefully we can have a very good 33 laps around here in Portimao. Right, now the lights are getting ready to come on. And the lights go out, and we've had a good getaway, especially compared to Valtteri Bottas, who is slow away from the line. George Russell pinched to the inside. We're just marginally faster than him. Valtteri Bottas, we're a full car length ahead of him, and that allows us to take the outside line through the corner and subsequently allows us to move through into P1. So it has been the start that I wanted. I'm very, very happy about that. But now we need to try and hold on to this for as long as we can. A yellow flag behind, I assume that's just because some cars are going slowly through these corners, tiptoeing in these tricky, wet conditions. But we do have a long race ahead of us. I think it's going to dry up towards the end is what they're telling us, so we do have to be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, I'm just going to do everything I can to sort of maintain this lead. It is going to be difficult, especially because even on my wet setups in this year's game, it seems like my tyres just have a bit of a propensity to overheat just a tiny bit. Which, you know, I feel like the AI don't really tend to do in this game. So, yeah, we're going to have our work cut out for us on this occasion, I think, to try and keep these two Mercedes behind. But, yeah, hopefully we just push on, try and cool the tyres as much as we can, try not to put any more movement through them than we absolutely need to. And, yeah, hopefully just hold on to the victory for the next 33 laps, do a lights to flag victory, like we very, very nearly did in the sprint in Brazil, of course, like we did do in Japan. Did we get pole position there, actually? I think we might have been P2 off the start there, but either way, we were leading out of the first corner and we never lost the lead beyond that point. So yeah, that was a really strong race in Japan, and hopefully we can have an equally strong race here in Portugal to bag our third win of the season. But you know, we're going to need a really strong race in order to be able to do that. Moving on to lap 2 now, you can see the gap to George Russell hasn't changed very much as I get a very silly track limits warning there. Just hugged the corner a bit too much, went over the curb, and well, we got what was coming to us, I guess. And yeah, now we go a little bit deep into that corner. George Russell is going to be challenging us on the inside, and oh, one of the Red Bulls is round. I don't know if you can see that on the radar there. Seems like Perez had a bit of a spin there, and he's had a red flag triggered for that. Okay, that seems a little bit dramatic, but maybe someone got stuck behind him or something, I don't know. Either way, red flag triggered, and I don't know if this helps or hinders us, honestly. If one of the AI gets a good restart here, then we could actually be in the mud a little bit, but you never know. If we get a good restart, then maybe we could even have a bigger advantage. As the lights come on once again, and the lights go out for the second time here in Portugal, and we have had a good getaway, especially compared to George Russell, who has had a very, very bad getaway on this occasion. He's been jumped by his teammate, he's been jumped by Sainz as well, and it looks like he's been jumped by Leclerc and Piastri too, so Russell down from P2 to P6. Bottas did have a look at maybe challenging us into turn 1, but he wasn't quite able to do it, and we have held on to the lead of the Portuguese Grand Prix off of this second start. But we're going to have more work to do than just that if we want to hold on. You know, Valtteri Bottas is 1 second behind us on this occasion, but we keep going deep into that corner at the end of the sort of mini straight, and that I think is going to be what ends up hampering us, if anything is going to hamper us here, because I just can't seem to get the braking point right. Even though I'm playing with a literal line telling me where to brake, it just doesn't seem right, you know. I seem to be following it, and it's not quite getting it right on this occasion, so I'm going to have to take matters into my own hands, as Valtteri Bottas is going to try and send one up the inside at a very unconventional location. But I think he's actually managed to make this work, you know. We're going to have to burn a little bit of battery just to try and stay with him. And as we go on the run through this uphill left-hander into the right-hander before we go downhill. He is going to try and get ahead, and you can see that he has managed to do exactly that. We brake just a tiny bit too late to keep our foot in, and Valtteri Bottas has taken the lead of the Portuguese Grand Prix. And I can tell you, because my tyres at this point were already starting to overheat, I was pretty confident that Valtteri Bottas was going to break away. So this might just have harmed our chances of winning here, but hopefully we can at least hold on to P2, keep the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz behind. As we make our way towards the end of lap 6 now, Valtteri Bottas is 2 seconds ahead of us, but the track is starting to dry out a little bit, and so I've decided I'm going to box for intermediate tyres. You may think this is a bit of a dramatic call, but when I spoke to them over the radio, they said they thought intermediates and wets had very similar pace at this stage. So I was thinking to myself, well, I know the track is definitely going to be drying out from this stage, so I figure what's the harm in going onto a set of intermediate tyres and trying to push as hard as we can to get up into a stronger position than we currently find ourselves in. We'll monitor the gap to Liam Lawson in front. He is at this stage 7 or 8 seconds ahead of us, maybe even more than that. It's looking like actually it's going to be more like 10 by the time we exit the pit stop phase, so we can keep an eye on what our delta to him is going to be. Meanwhile, on the end of lap 8, before we look at that delta to Liam Lawson, you can see that that Oscar Piastri is going to be retiring from this race in that McLaren. He's going to be pulling off to the side. Lance Stroll left with nowhere to go. He's gone straight into the back of him. That is Lance Stroll comfortably out of the session, and Oscar Piastri too. 2 DNFs for the price of 1, and I don't know if you saw that flag board, but that is the last thing that I wanted to see right now. You can see it from my perspective, just in case you didn't quite check that out. You can see I'd got the gap to Liam Lawson down by 7 seconds over the course of 2 laps. It's definitely the faster compounded tyre, but a red flag has been pulled, and now I am legitimately going to be in P20. When you factor in those 2 retirements, of course, that is going to be me down all the way from 2nd to 20th because of this red flag. And that is the last thing that I wanted to happen, but we're going to have to try and bounce back from this as best we can. We're going to be going on a set of intermediates to the end, but the track might dry out more, so who knows. And for the 3rd time, the lights come on and the lights go out, and there's an instant virtual safety car because they haven't managed to clear Oscar Piastri's car from the track as of yet. And yeah, so there is an instant safety car, and that is even less what I wanted to see, quite frankly. The red flag was pretty bad, but it was even worse thinking about the fact that one of my strongest suits in this whole game is the race start, and we didn't even get that as a result of the red flag. So yeah, very, very disappointed in that. Nico Hülkenberg, for some reason, started on a set of wet tyres. I don't really know why he did that, but he's had to retire as a result as well. Or not retire, but he's had to pit as a result to go on the intermediate tyres, and that is allowing me to get up 1 free position. And now, at the end of lap 13, we find ourselves at this safety car restart, and I am instantly pressuring Liam Lawson on the run down towards turn 1. I am not fucking around here. I just need to get ahead of these guys as quickly as I possibly can. I'm going to be dive bombing left, right, and centre. We tried to cut the inside of Fittipaldi as well. It didn't quite work out on this occasion, but we're going to try and have another bite of the cherry. We got the inside of him, we got the inside of Hauger, and we got the inside of, I believe, that is Nick De Vries in the AlphaTauri as well. So we've gotten ahead of him. That's a really strong overtake for us. Next up is Logan Sargent, the American in the Haas. We're going to get 2 for the price of 1, maybe 3 for the price of 1, as we got the inside of Tsunoda and Albon as well. And that has allowed us to move all the way up into P12, I believe, already. From P19 at the safety car restart, we've made 7 positions up already. Basically got ahead of all the backmarker teams and my teammate Dennis Hauger as well. And the only driver from the backmarker teams we've got left to overtake now is Zhou Guanyu, and hopefully we can get past him nice and quickly as we make our way through the remainder of lap 14, as we get into the downhill roller coaster section, as Lando Norris once dubbed it. And yeah, hopefully we can just make this position up very, very quickly. I don't want to be stuck behind Zhou Guanyu, because the longer we stay behind him, the further away from us that Esteban Ocon is going to break, and he is the driver in the points. If I can't score strong points here to beat Alpine, I at least want to minimize the amount of points that they can get. If we overtake Esteban Ocon, at this stage, he's in P10. We would be knocking him out of the points, which would be one source of points limited for Alpine. But not only that, we would also be scoring a point ourselves, which would massively limit the deficit of points that we would be getting compared to Alpine. So we got up the inside of Zhou Guanyu as we make our way towards the end of Sector 1, and we have made our way up into P11. Now it is time to try and close down Esteban Ocon as quickly as we possibly can. We make our way onto the end of lap 19 now, and you can see that the gap to Esteban Ocon is 2 seconds. I just have not been able to close this deal whatsoever. My tyres have been overheating a little bit as the track starts to dry out, and of course the AI is managing that a lot better than I am. So yeah, we may be in a bit of a state of bother here if Ocon continues to break away from me like this, and there's not going to be much I'm able to do, I don't think. We're just going to have to hope that the track dries out nice and quickly, and we can get ourselves onto a set of soft compound tyres as quickly as possible. I think the softs will be able to go to the end from here, no matter how worn they are from qualifying. 13 laps on the softs should be fairly straightforward, I think. But you can see that Ocon has gained another 7/10 on me on that lap. I'm constantly checking the weather, but they're still saying that the Inter's the fastest tyre, so I don't know. I just I don't want to box until I'm absolutely certain that it's time for dry tyres. Make our way to the end of lap 23 now, and you can see that Ocon has massively increased that gap. He's over 5 seconds ahead of me now, and I'm still checking the weather, and they're still saying it's intermediate conditions. I do not want to jump the gun, but I'm looking at this track and I'm almost in disbelief. I've been thinking to myself, like, I've definitely seen tracks that look like this in this year's game, that the game has deemed, DRS enabled. Slick tyres are probably the best tyre to be on right now. Well, they're certainly no worse than intermediate tyres. But, I actually get interrupted by Mark on this occasion the first time I try and check. But, next time I try and check, I actually get a weird glitch where I tick it and it just doesn't even say anything. So I'm like, okay, fantastic, awesome. I guess I'm just not going to know the weather on this occasion. But everyone else stays out, and so I assume that's probably the correct play to make at this stage, is to just stay out. And eventually Mark comes back and he says, no rain currently expected. And so there you go. It's still not time for the soft compound tyres somehow. I don't know how. Please don't ask me how, because it definitely seemed dry enough by this point. By the time we get onto lap 26, I'm pretty much fuming, because I'm thinking to myself, like, at this point going onto a set of soft compound tyres isn't even going to be better, but finally we get to the overlap point where the dries might be faster, and so I'm instantly like, okay, I'm coming in, I'm putting on the soft compound tyres. Now, you may think that this might be a bit of a foolish decision, but my logic here is simply, if I'm going to finish P11 anyway, I'm not scoring any points, I might as well try and do something bold. And therefore, if there is a late safety car, or if there is, one person, just one person from the top 10 has to have some kind of incident or something like that, and I could get myself into the points. Because I know that on this set of soft compound tyres, in 7 laps, I can overtake whoever I need to from these back marker teams to get myself up into a good enough position. But we just got to get the heat in the tyres as quickly as we possibly can, and we actually do have to overtake everyone again. I really didn't think that was going to be the case. I thought that the pit stop was going to be faster than that, so this did come as a bit of a surprise to me, to be all the way down in P20. But hopefully we can just clear these guys nice and quickly as we make our way through to the end of lap 27 now, into the final sector. And one of them is going to get out of my way with no real hassle. Unfortunately for the team, it is going to be Dennis Hauger, my teammate. You can see he's pulling off to the side of the track there. He's out of the session. It's a mechanical failure from the man from Norway, and that promotes us up into P19. And now we're just going to try and get through this traffic as quickly as we possibly can. You can see we're pretty close to everyone from the back marker teams except Zhou Guanyu. He built quite a gap on Nick De Vries, and he's all the way in P11, and that has to be the minimum target that we set for ourselves, is finishing P11 here, I would say, as we dive around the outside of Liam Lawson. He held us up for a little bit, and we actually get a bit of a tank slapper on there. Managed to catch it. We catch the spin, we control the spin, and we manage to turn that little moment into an attacking moment, and we make our way up into P18. Next up on the menu is Nico Hulkenberg. I am hungry for these overtakes, and I will not rest until my appetite is satiated. I'm sounding a little bit like a cannibal now. I should probably calm down. But we're going to be overtaking Nico Hulkenberg next, I hope. and we get a much better exit than him from that corner, and that's going to set us up to hopefully try and overtake him through this next sequence of corners. He loses a little bit of space on the inside. We say thank you very much. Now we're going to try and creep around the outside of him. We definitely have more grip on these soft compound tyres. The track is only going to get drier and drier. And then finally, I see the message that I've been waiting for the last couple of laps since I put these soft compound tyres on. The DRS is online, and we can make some swift overtakes, hopefully, on some of these guys in front of us. There is another yellow flag. I think that's still for Dennis Hauger. Mincing my words a little bit there. It's late. You'll have to forgive me. But yeah, we're going to try and overtake Enzo Fittipaldi here as quickly as we can. My former teammate helped me obtain the victory last race, and yeah, he gets out of my way nice and easily with that DRS. And we are up into P16. 5 more positions to gain in these last 5 laps, and hopefully we can get them nice and quickly. We are gaining on these guys very, very quickly. I imagine by the end of the lap I should have caught up to Albon as well, hopefully. And yeah, this is just a bit of a trivial affair at the moment. You know, I was at least happy in this race that I actually got a chance to do some overtaking, because usually in these races I have a really strong qualifying, but then my race pace isn't quite there, and it's just like defend the whole time. So I'm kind of happy that we're actually getting an opportunity to do a little bit of overtaking and do a little bit of wheel-to-wheel battling, some racing, and just have a little bit of fun. Unfortunately, it does come at the cost of scoring points, because Esteban Ocon is so far up the road. There's absolutely no way I'm catching him. The only way we're getting points, and I mean the only way we are getting points, is if someone from that top 10 retires or has a catastrophic incident that causes them to have to come into the pits to replace their front wing. Anything other than that, and we are going to be finding ourselves outside the top 10. We got ahead of Albon a little while ago. Now we're overtaking Sargent. We're going to have DRS for good measure, which means we're going to close right up to the back of Yuki Tsunoda here. Potentially my former teammate, or sorry, potentially my future teammate, I should say. You can decide in the YouTube comments who you think my teammate should be. Like I said, the shortlist is Gasly, Ocon and Tsunoda, but maybe there's somebody else you think I should sign instead. We're almost going to the back of Tsunoda. That might have influenced his decision to sign for us if we had done. That's actually a good point. You might remember that incident we had with Ocon. Maybe he won't want to race with me after that. Go watch my Singapore video if you don't know what I'm talking about, as I go very deep to the exit of that corner. And that actually undoes the overtake that I did on Tsunoda. But we're able to get back through on him very, very quickly. And now the only drivers we've got left are Nick De Vries directly in front of us and Yuki Tsunoda's teammate Zhou Guanyu, who is 8 seconds up the road as we speak. We've only got a few laps to catch him. So actually I would say this P11 isn't guaranteed. And maybe we just threw away one position. One thing is for certain though, we are going to get the fastest lap in this race because we are the only driver on these soft compound tyres. And so that means that while we won't be scoring any points for it, we will be stealing a point away from whoever is currently, you know, with the second fastest lap of the race, so to speak. So yeah, we dive up the inside of Zhou Guanyu on lap 32, and we find ourselves finally into that 11th place that we were gunning for. You can see Ocon is 28 seconds up the road. Whilst I am catching him, I don't think I'm quite catching him that quickly. So yeah, I think that is going to be the maximum here. Unfortunately, there wasn't much we could do about this race. I would love to say that there was more that we could have done in this race, but no. We just, you know, we tried our hardest to get points, but that red flag, the timing of it really, really screwed us over, just, you know, irreparably. A few cars actually came into the pits at the end there. One of the, or both of the Hasses and both the Alfa Romeos. I don't know if that's because their inters were too burnt out from running on a dry track that they literally were going to blow up if they stayed on them any longer, or what the deal was with that. But in any case, yeah, like I said, red flag timing completely screwed us over. Nothing we could have done. We were catching Ocon to the end, but it won't make a difference as we round the final corner. It's going to be P11 only, and a disappointing race.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. So, Natalie, what made the difference out there today?
Well, they managed their tyres to absolute perfection. A tyre whisperer, in fact. And that is what set them apart.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Nobody could stop Valtteri Bottas today. This man has just 2 races left in Formula 1 now, and he is absolutely determined to win this World Championship. Very little is going to be able to stop him from this point onwards. We have Las Vegas, we have Abu Dhabi. All he needs is just a couple of consistent results there. You know, nothing more dramatic than maybe, you know, a P4 or P3 in each of them, and I think he should be absolutely fine. The Ferraris complete the podium, and they will be very happy with that result as well, I am sure.
More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
That's got to be the Flying Finn. Wait, how many Flying Finns have we got now? Anyway, I'm talking about Bottas this time. Just great raw speed and a good job in the traffic as well.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula 1 action. Can't wait to see what's next.
Well, Valtteri Bottas is 23 points ahead at the top of the championship now, and I would wager to say there are only a few people that really are even capable of catching him. I think his teammate is probably one of them. You know, most of these drivers now are sort of mathematically, or at least logically, out of the championship contention. You know, I think, I can't even remember the order that they were in now, but it was what? It was... Bottas was 23 points ahead of his nearest competitor, which I believe is George Russell. And then, was it Sergio Perez was 36 points down and Norris was 43 points down? Or was it Verstappen who was 43 points down? I can't remember. But either way, only 4 drivers are still mathematically in contention for this championship now. And, you know, Bottas is starting to take a bit of a commanding lead. What was looking like it should be an easy championship win for his teammate George Russell in those first 5 races is suddenly slipping further and further away into the clutches of his teammate, no less. The man that Mercedes hired to play second fiddle to George Russell is going to be the one winning this World Championship, and I bet you wouldn't have predicted that at the start of the season. Valtteri Bottas, the ultimate wingman, people have described him as on many, many occasions. In his final season, he really did say, to whom it may concern, and he's going to hopefully be walking away with the championship. And as someone who is mathematically very much out of contention at this stage, I am going to be cheering him on every step of the way. I can't wait to see whether he can get that championship over the line or not in Las Vegas and Abu Dhabi. Those videos will hopefully be coming out over the next few days, so do get subscribed and stay tuned for those ones as well. In terms of my championship performance, obviously we didn't gain any points on this occasion. I believe Alpine moved 5 points further ahead of us, so nothing too dramatic actually. You know, I was expecting a bit more, but I think they finished 10th and 8th in the end, so it wasn't a travesty, it wasn't a tragedy, and there definitely still is hope for us in this Constructors' Championship. We just have to make sure that we can get a strong result in Abu Dhabi. Obviously, we had our first ever, sorry, not Abu Dhabi, Las Vegas. We had our first ever podium in Las Vegas in Season 1, and I believe we got P5 there last season. So, yeah, we had some strong results. And then in Abu Dhabi, obviously it wasn't on the calendar last season, but in the first season, I can't remember if we scored points there or not. I feel like we did. I feel like we got a halfway decent result. It was like a P7 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, we certainly have the propensity to get some points on the board in both races, especially if we don't have a race like this one today. It might rain in Vegas. It might rain in Vegas in real life this weekend at the actual Las Vegas Grand Prix, and I cannot wait to see that one, but that is a topic for a completely different video. And then, yeah, Abu Dhabi, it's unlikely that it will rain, so in terms of weird strategies screwing us over, I think we should hopefully be okay. Dennis Hauger, on his way out. Let me know in the comments who you want to see replace him after the last couple of races. This is your last video to do so, and anything else I probably won't consider it because I've probably already recorded it. And that is going to be it for this video. So if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.